In one country, should there be a different law for different individuals, especially in cases of civil contract? Vikas Singh ji, where do you stand?
So the answer actually you will find in our constitution itself. So in our constitution, although Article 44 is included in the directive principles of state policy, which is not the same as a fundamental right, but Article 25, which is the fundamental right, starts with a subject to clause. It says subject to public order, morality or health and other provisions of this part. Other provisions of this part include equality. So your right to practice your religion, freely practice your religion, is subject to the other provisions of the part of the fundamental rights, which is equality. So when a uniform civil law is to be brought in, which is actually one of the founding fathers had felt it necessary to be brought in, slowly of course, but surely by providing it as a directive principle of state policy. Nobody can deny that those parts of a religious denomination or religious freedoms that are there does not include the right to violate the right of equality or a human right. So for instance, if you want to provide for a marriageable age for girls to be say 18 minimum, and as a part of a uniform civil law, nobody can say that because my religion permits me, so I can marry a girl who's 15 or 14 or whatever. So that is something which will be considered to be a basic human right, or equality is the other right which is also there in the constitution. So when you say of a boy or girl not inheriting equally property of her parents, then that is again a right to equality. Now, if you will see in the recent past also, I mean, there have been, instances where the Hindu Succession Act has been amended and girls have been made co-parceners, which, our original Hindu rights, as we know, as we understood as per our, Hindu text, boys had a certain preeminence in inheriting property, and they were the co-parceners and girls were not co-parceners. Now, slowly, Hindus have, the parliament has enacted the amendment to the Hindu Succession Act, and the Hindus have not objected. They didn't say that, no, it's our fundamental right and we, only the boys will be co-parceners and girls should not be co-parceners. And it has been, I think maybe about 20 years back or almost 17, 18 years back, this amendment was made to the Succession Act. So, right. This kind of reform, which has to come in the entire country, is definitely a very salutary reform, and nobody can deny that it is, and nobody can say that it is unconstitutional, because even the fundamental right starts with the subject to clause of subject to public order, morality, health, or other provisions of this part. But the important point is that we should ensure that there is no misinformation spread when these civil rights are being equal civil rights are being brought in. And the focus of bringing in equal civil rights should be limited to, those fundamental rights of either equality, or I would say, because Article 21 has been defined to mean much more than what, it originally stood for when the Constitution was drafted, to mean a lot of other things. So it has to be, traced to the other fundamental rights which are being violated in some form or the other, by virtue of the uniformity of civil law not being brought in. And I have always said that you should have a public debate, try to involve the intelligentsia and every religious community, and take them on board and take their views. And there should be proper dissemination of information, that it is not that your religious rights are being interfered with. Your religion will remain your religion. Nobody will interfere in what you feel as essential for your religion. But only that part of, or I would say rather say the secular part of the religious function, which is, equality, etc., only that portion will be, looked at in the Uniform Civil Code. And I feel that your channel or any other channel should, bring out the real issue that the Uniform Civil Code is talking about, and it is not as if it is anti-Muslim or anti.
Thank you for joining us. I think he has a valid point that Article 25, which is protective of religious freedoms,
should not be violative of the principle of equality, Article 15. And I think that's, at least when it comes to the issue of, inheritance, property, rights to ancestral property, there is a big problem, particularly for Muslim women. They are not entitled to the same share as Muslim men are. And I think if you go through the survey, and we'll reveal some of the other questions that have been asked as well through the course of our program, I think we're ready for the next question that we asked.
The other aspect is that religious personal faith and personal law, they're two separate aspects altogether. And there is an effort to try and conflate the two or try and confuse the two, which should be avoided. The next question.